Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest online event here at the University of California, Merced. My name is Ricky Hill, and I'm back here with you as your e-recruiter for another virtual event, part of our Become a Bobcat virtual series. Now, tonight, our special topic has to do with 3 different areas of campus. That includes housing, TAPS, which is transportation and parking services, as well as our dining services. So you're in for quite a treat if you have any questions about any of those 3 areas of campus, and they all kind of go hand in hand. So if you live there, you're going to eat there, and you're probably going to drive there. And even if you don't live there, you still have to get there somehow. So we will be touching on all of those topics this evening. Now, before we get started, of course, I have a couple of reminders with Zoom that I'd like to go ahead and toss out to you. Just as reminders, if you need to adjust your audio settings, you can do that in the lower left corner of your screen. If at any time you would like to go ahead and adjust your screen, you can click on View Options in the upper portion of your window, and you can make those adjustments there. We have lots of information for you tonight. Feel free to go ahead and grab your smartphone and take some pictures along the way if you'd like, or just screenshots on your laptop or computer. We always record these events, so that will be made available as well as an on-demand instant replay in just a couple of days. So we will be posting that over on the Admitted Student Events page, which is actually where you went to register for this event. So you more than likely already have that bookmarked. So make sure that if you haven't, that you do visit that page and mark that for later on. So in a couple of days, you can find out other events that are coming up, as well as those on-demand replays. This one will be there, but as well as others that we've already had. Now, the last reminder, probably the most important, we are going to get to your questions live. So make sure that you click on the Q&A button at the lower portion of your screen. You can send in those questions to us. We are jam-packed behind the scenes. Tons of content experts are there. They are ready with their fast fingers to get to those questions behind the scenes, as well as during the end of our presentation. As always, we will have some time left over for the live question and answer session. Now, before we do jump in to our actual presentation, I'd like to go ahead and ask you all just to take a quick moment and answer the poll question that just popped up on your screen. We would love to find out where you are located this evening and where you're tuning in from. So what city are you in? We always love to find out where our future Bobcats are located, and of course, where you're taking some time out of your evening to join us as we are getting ready to launch into this presentation to discover more about housing, transportation, and parking services, and dining. So we have lots of responses coming in. Thank you guys so much for that. And also a big welcome to you once again to our event. My name is Ricky Hill, your e-recruiter. I hope to see you guys back here many more times, but right now, let's go ahead and kick things off with the first part of our presentation, and that's going to be in residence education. I'm tossing it over to my friend Scott.
Hi, thanks, Ricky, and welcome everyone. Thanks for taking some time out tonight to talk with us about housing and campus life really here. My role today is to talk about housing and residence education. These are 2 units that help comprise what we would call the living on campus experience. So the residence education part is kind of the experience when you get here. If you think about things you might know about college, like RAs and roommates and events and stuff like that, that's residence education. They work on that. And we're going to transition from talking about this overview to eventually talking about housing and how to get housing. And that's the contracts and the nuts and bolts of how to get your campus housing secured. So the Res Ed team is comprised of 9 full-time professionals and 79 RAs. They oversee our operations within our residence halls, and we have some of the newest housing in the country, really. Every building that we operate's has the oldest one is 2008. And so we have a lot of really great facilities to offer in the campus housing space, which I think distinguishes us often among our peers. Our next slide, please. I talked a little bit about the staff, and you might wonder, why do you need all these folks there? I mean, it's a city of 4,000 people. We have 4,300 campus residents, and including the staff, and those folks are all there to help keep the city operational. We have there's recreation, there's mail and package services. There's, the RAs in particular are your point of reference for finding your way around campus and getting to know the UC Merced. I mean, the campus is so big and complicated. There's a million manuals and tons of information, but sometimes it's it's easier to just to reach out to another person. And we select RAs who have good communication skills, and they work and live in the community with you, so they can be available to you when you have questions. The REC, or the Residence Education Coordinator, is a full-time staff member who also lives on campus. They oversee the RAs and are available for more complicated problems that might show up if you have more complex room issues, or if there's issues in the community that need to be addressed. They can also help with the more complex navigation around UC Merced as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next slide. So one of the ways in which Res Ed helps partner with the campus community is through living and learning communities. These are groups of students who elect to participate in a one credit hour class, and then they also live with each other on a floor in a residence hall. We have LLCs in all our first year buildings: Tenaya, El Portal, Glacier Point, Granite Pass, and these groups essentially take the best part of the in-class experience and then combine it with this co-curricular outside experience as well. So the RA and the program will do events in the residence hall as well around the area of interest. And we have a broad range of these LLCs, as we'll see as we navigate through the slides here. The LLCs, because of the way they help combine in and out of the classroom, they do help students stay. They help them with the success in the first year. That transition can be very difficult, leaving home and coming to campus, not just because of the navigating the living, but also navigating the academics. And so the LLC provides an additional layer of support for those students who might, around an interest area for those students who might benefit from it. We know that many of our students benefit from LLCs. I'd encourage you to take a strong look at those that are offered. There's many LLCs. Some are what we call elective, meaning you can choose to join those, and those are in the housing application. Some are not. They are by invitation. These are like Fiat Lux or Honors Program. There are two different kinds of LLCs in the way you get there, but participating in an LLC can really enhance your campus experience. Next slide, please. There are expectations. So these are some of the common ones. I talked about the Common Course. There are meetings outside of that, social study sessions, which, again, when we talk about the transition from academics from high school to college, the pace and the self-guided nature of it we have found to be a challenge. And so the LLC structure can help students through the use of study groups keep pace and not miss assignments or help keep up with curriculum, and really just kind of learning and teaching with each other. So there's networking events with faculty and staff. There are also opportunities to connect with those students, and it's in those relationships that you can find out how other folks are navigating the experience and learn from them and enhance your own transition and make it faster and less difficult. What we'll show on the next few slides are just some of the LLCs. We have LLCs around lots of different areas, and some of the topics here give you kind of a sampling of what we offer. But on our website, and which we'll have links to later, there's a lot more information about the LLC. What does it mean? So, example, for political engagement or professional engineering, entrepreneurship. It's kind of a wide range of topics. Not all of them are necessarily surrounding a major. They are often more focused around kind of an area of learning or an area of engagement. So for something like political engagement, you don't necessarily have to have a political science major to participate in that. Any major can participate in that program. And we have a few more to show you on the next slide. Again, there's lots of information on our website about this. I guess, yeah, we have them on this. This is the website to go there. We keep adding more, and then the slide gets huge. And rather than have like 20 slides of LLCs, we just give you the link. You can go check it out. Moving on from LLCs, I want to talk about the process of how you get housing. So now we're moving from kind of life on campus, where we talked about the folks that are here to support you, our buildings, and some of the programs we offer like LLCs, and now we want to move into how we actually get housing. We're going to talk about our guarantee, our 2-year housing guarantee. We're going to talk about what that looks like for transfer students, the contract process, our rates, the application process, and housing accommodations as we move through the next few slides. So some things to leave behind. Don't in-campus housing, again, it's a city, right? But it's kind of a strange city. I mean, housing here is a little different. When you live in a residence hall, it's a little different than having an apartment with your own room. Maybe you have your own room at home. And we have a lot of guidelines that help make students better neighbors to each other because we have to set expectations. Nobody's lived on campus before. It's a unique experience for many people in their first year. And so this helps everybody understand what is good to bring and what is best left behind. So no pets are permitted except fish in a 10-gallon tank or smaller. And don't bring any weapons like guns or swords or the things like that. And then no kitchen appliances. This is a common one. So nothing that glows or nothing that heats. You can have a microwave and a refrigerator and a Keurig single serve coffee maker. Those are the only permitted appliances. And it's not because we want to be mean about it. It's because the rooms aren't really designed for cooking. So you can imagine, 4,000 people living on campus, everybody brings their own cooking stuff. The rooms don't have vent hoods or the stuff like that. So it can be a challenge. So we prohibit those cooking in the rooms. And, drugs can't, nothing that burns either. So candles, incense, sun lamps, things that get really hot. And all our buildings have Wi-Fi, so you don't need to bring a router or anything else. You can just use the university network. Things you will need when it comes time to come to campus. All our beds are twin extra long. That's a size you can, if you've never thought about your bed size, twin extra long is a bed size. You can find sheets and pillowcases at almost every major retailer and online in the twin extra long setting. And I'm 6'5" and that bed fits me so comfortably with some room to spare. So just to give you a sense of the bed length, and then it's also a twin in terms of width. You're going to want to make sure that you bring your bathroom supplies. If you haven't thought about all the things you use to get ready, that stuff you're going to need with you, in addition to prescription medications or other elements, like things you might need that you take regularly. So as you're thinking about planning for coming to college, think about those things that you use on a regular basis and how you would get those with you to college. You can have power strips with surge protectors, and we do recommend them. They need to be UL certified. You might want to bring, so if you happen to you don't really need South Campus, which is first year housing, doesn't have Ethernet hookups, but if you get assigned to North Campus, which is Half Dome, which is the Summits, Valley Terraces, and Sierra Terraces, there are Ethernet ports there to use. So you have to do your own laundry. So if you haven't figured out how to do that, now's a good time to start watching whoever's been doing your laundry or to figure out how that's done. Detergent, bleach, how you're going to move the laundry around, etc. You'll be responsible for that. Generally speaking, we encourage folks to bring emergency supplies, basic stuff. Like if you get sick, you want to be able to take your temperature so you kind of know what's going on. And if there's the lights go out, or you want to have basic access to a flashlight, maybe some first aid kit in case you get hurt. And then if you're bringing a bike, make sure you bring a U-lock. You can bring some small desk lamps, but nothing that gets really hot, like a halogen style lamp. They don't sell those as much often, so it's not an issue. And most people have LEDs. Every student has dresser drawers that have a space for a lock. So if you want to bring some combination locks, you can secure items within your room, and then also the bathrooms have lockers. If you're walking down to a common bathroom, you can put stuff in a locker and lock it up. We do allow students.
Hi, everyone. It looks like we might be having some technical difficulties with Scott's connection. So we'll go ahead and give him just a moment as we pause here. But what I would like to do is offer our next speaker the opportunity to go ahead and start into their section. So that person is going to be Jay with dining. Hi there. Welcome on.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Ricky. Hi, guys. So I'm going to talk to you about dining. Obviously, we have a big campus, 4,000 students who live on campus, and we feed everybody all the time. We like to think that it's where, the most communing happens, around a table with your friends. And you have to eat. So we'll be there for you. This screen shows the inside of one of our dining halls. This is the pavilion dining hall that you see. We serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. We have lots of different locations. So on the next slide, you'll see the different locations that exist on campus. For your residential meal plan, so if you live on campus, you will have a residential meal plan as part of your housing contract. Those meals are available at the Pavilion Dining Center, and we shorten it. It's called the Yablikoff Wallace Dining Center. We call it the DC Dining Commons, the YWDC, and they are another location that you'll be able to use your meal plans. The dining retail options that we also offer on campus are the Lantern Cafe up in the library area, and that has coffee like a Starbucks. We serve Pete's coffee, so really, really good coffee. And then Bobcat Snack Stop is also up on the north side of campus, or I guess technically it's the east. I think of it as the north. And so that has your like convenience store items, snacks, chips, some class things that you may need during your school day. And then down in our Half Dome or Summits housing, we have reopened, which we're really excited about. It was closed for a little bit for a revamp. We have another convenience store for snacks and things like that. We can talk a little bit more on the next slide about specifics. So the Pavilion Dining Center is open 7 days a week. So that's your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. On the weekends, that's your option. Both of our dining centers have a huge variety, lots of allergen-friendly options, halal, vegan and vegetarian options at every platform. And then the DC on the next slide, you'll see that the DC is open Monday through Friday. So the DC is open for lunch, dinner, and late night. So we do provide a late night service because Merced is a little bit far away as a town. So we like to give everybody the option for the snacks at night while you're studying. For a snack. So they are open until midnight, Monday through Friday, which tends to be a really cool hang, actually. And then on the next slide, we can talk about how to contact us. So there's lots of questions always about allergens or restrictions or preferences. Our chefs are amazing. They are accommodating and very well educated in allergens. We're working with a dietitian these days. And so we've been able to work around lots and lots of different options, and we're happy to meet with you, have a conversation with you, and let you know how we plan to accommodate your needs. And then if you have any questions, dining at ucmerced.edu. That's the link. That's the move. That gets all of us. It gets myself, it gets the executive chefs in both buildings, it gets supervisors, it gets the anybody who needs to see your question and get back to you, we'll get that email. So if you have any further questions, or once you're on campus and have questions, suggestions, feedback, that's where we like to hear it. If you want to work for dining, a lot of people get a job right when they get on campus. Others wait for a semester to feel it out. But all of the campus jobs are located on Handshake, and that QR code will take you to the applications. The next slide. Oh, I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Jay, for that great part of the presentation tonight.
Yeah.
Just a quick reminder to everyone, if you haven't yet sent in your question, go ahead and do that on the Q&A button. I know we're getting a ton rolling in, but just a quick reminder that we do have that option available. for you. So you can go ahead and click on the Q&A button, send in your question, and we, as I said before, have fast fingers behind the scenes who are getting to those, and we will also save some for end of presentation for the live Q&A. All right, without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to my friend James to talk about TAPS.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Glad to be here, see you, and looking forward to seeing everybody as you become a Bobcat. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the next slide. My name is James Nardello. I'm the Assistant Director for Transportation and Parking, and I'm just really happy to be here with you today. And we're going to talk about just a myriad of things that relate to our transportation and parking services, including cat tracks and some other alternative options for you. And to kick it right off tonight, would like to talk about the resident students for on-campus overnight parking. As you will see with this presentation, there is a semester and an annual price that you can purchase a permit. Apply twice for each semester, or you can apply once for the entire academic year. That might make it just a little easier for you. Applications for fall 2025 or academic year are available right now. So those things can be found on our website. You'll notice our website, that is probably what we would consider our most important place, your most important landing zone for anything that you have questions about regarding transportation and parking services. You also notice that there's a semester annual rate, but it is to be determined pending parking zone locations. There's a lot of shaking and moving, and that's a good thing. And we're excited about all of that. So we will be sharing more information about those annual and semester rates. And again, stay tuned on our website, because that again is the real official location for any updated information. All on-campus resident students are eligible to apply. Next slide. Thank you. For commuter students and continuing and new transfers, as you see on this slide, for commuter students, semester and annual rates are shown, 160, 320, a simple math equation there. And then in order to purchase that, you would go to the permit portal. And you notice that website there. All of this information is on our website as well. You notice also that carpool is listed. And for us, that's just a really great way to be sustainable, a really great way to bring more than one person and impacting parking spaces. Carpool, we suggest it. We encourage it. And as you'll notice, that 160 and 320 is exactly the same. But hey, do that math equation again and divide that price between the folks that you'll be going along with you. That's where your discount comes as a carpooler. Those are available for purchase at the TAPS office. All carpoolers that will be in that carpool will need to be present in our office in order to do so. Freshman commuters apply by exception. That's probably the single biggest question that we receive as we're talking about folks coming on board to UC Merced is, can I bring a car? I'm a freshman. I would love to bring a car. The exceptions that you see listed are extremely important, that when you are applying for that exception, that you meet one of those criteria. Being an active military member, if there is a medical necessity, or you have an off-campus job, it can be maybe outside of the perimeters of transit, and other extreme circumstances. Those applications are also available on our website. Next. Okay, and for transportation services, our Cat Tracks bus transportation, that CAT card that you see an example of Rufus Bobcat, that is a very important card to hold on to. That CAT card is required to ride. There is a mobile ID also, and it can be used with our bus systems. That mobile ID is accepted. We prefer you have that CAT card. You're going to need it in every other thing you're doing for campus. And so hanging on to that CAT card is going to be extremely important. You'll notice that with our transit system, our fixed route service, and our county bus system, there's connections to everywhere, surrounding communities, and also Amtrak, physicians, pharmacies, grocery stores, Target and Walmarts, for dining off campus, banking facilities, and also to get downtown. All of those routes are updated all the time. And if there's ever questions, you can visit our website, and we're more than happy to update you on that. Another important piece of information for CapTrax is that if there are any changes or updates to routes, or if there is going to be a delay, those are also tweeted. So we have that as a real-time update. If there are going to be changes to routes, that tweet link, X link, is on our website. It's on our page. So it is a feed that is consistently there. Next slide. Okay, so other transportation partners. We have the county bus, Merced, the bus, who handles all of the other surrounding community areas that are not serviced from our direct fixed route CapTrax service. So that city bus and all of our routes are serviced through our University Transit Center on campus. So it's very convenient to get to connecting routes and all of your other routes to resident areas and all of the important things that I mentioned in the previous slide. You can fly to Merced. There was a question in the chat, and I was loving answering it, that we do have an airport here in Merced. There are connections to the Hawthorne, Los Angeles Jet Center, and the Harry Reid International in Las Vegas. So those are the two airports that are connected through Merced. And then obviously there are further connections. The website that you see on here and linked on our website will give you further information about those routes. Amtrak is also a key player and a key partner for our transportation options at UC Merced. Amtrak going north and south, there are many stops, and there are student discounts available. It's the website that we have for TAPS also has all of those schedules as well. You can link into those schedules. Obviously, we're more than happy to answer any of those questions that you might have. And in any of the tabling things that go on campus, we also share information about each of these transit partners. Next slide. Zipcar, other transit options. We have Zipcar, and we are proud of Zipcar. We have 5 cars that are located in various locations on campus. It's a self-service on-demand car sharing system. Online or mobile phone reservations can be made. And there's a zip card that is sent to you as a member to enter your car when you've got it properly reserved. Membership, obviously 18 years and older, and there is a discounted annual fee for that. It's a very low rate. But basically what happens when you become a member, they mail you that member card, which gives you access into the car, and the filling up of the gas, the maintenance, and the insurance is all included. Those are the reasons why we feel Zipcar is really important. Daily and hourly rates are available, and there's also a flat rate depending on the vehicle type that you will be choosing. Obviously, Uber and Lyft is a presence. It's not the same level as Los Angeles or San Diego, but we have Uber and Lyft. There are active drivers, and so that is always another great option. But as we talked about in the previous slide, carpooling is great for many reasons, but also for meeting new friends and meeting other Bobcats so that you can get places and go together and generate those relationships with each other, because that's where success is proven. Next slide. Great. Employment opportunities. Jay, in her previous presentation, talked about employment opportunities. The work that we do every single day in transportation parking services, it's not possible for us to be successful without the incredible work that our student ambassadors do on a daily basis. And you see a myriad of photos here that shows some of the work that we do, event preparation, cleaning parking lots, directing traffic for events. These things are really the key components to our work. The student ambassadors are the reasons why we're successful, and we really look forward to bringing on new students. And it's just a great place to work, and we look forward to having you. Next slide.
We have actually reached the end of the TAPS portion, but I'd love to welcome back Scott. I know we had some technical issues, and a big thank you to James for that fantastic job on the TAPS section of our presentation. And we will, of course, welcome you back on for the question and answer session. So we'll see you back then. Welcome back, Scott. Thank you so much for joining again.
Yes, I returned from the void.
You
that was a
did.
wild hardware failure. So
It
we'll see if it
happened.
holds. So when we last talked, we were talking about what to bring. I was talking about appliances. So you can bring one 900-watt microwave or smaller. Now that is a small microwave. It is not a big microwave, not a hand-me-down one from your favorite uncle. That's a pretty small microwave, and it's designed that way because one of our more common uh, reasons for fire alarms are people burning things in the microwave. So, and one of the reasons we limit the size of the refrigerators and the number of refrigerators you can have in a room is because of the power draw. So it tends to, like, if you're running the microwave and the refrigerator kicks on, it can cause all kinds of problems with that circuit. So you're allowed to have 4.2 cubic feet refrigerator. That's kind of a small refrigerator, and you're allowed one for every 2 beds in the room. So a double or a single could have one refrigerator, and a triple and a quad can have two of those refrigerators, but neither refrigerator can be greater than 4.2 cubic feet. We'll have plenty of time to answer those questions. If you're coming here, we'll have staff at orientation. We can help you with what to bring, and we'll be plenty more information to talk about that in the future. We can go on to our next slide. So our application process and timeline are posted online as well. The main thing I want to communicate to folks about the housing application is that we do not, I saw on the questions, our first year is required to live on. You are not required to live on. We think it's a great opportunity for you to meet students and to transition to UC in your first year, particularly the location. If you haven't visited campus yet, we're about 2.5 to 3 miles outside of the nearest next apartment. So it can be quite a chore to commute in. And so if you're trying to organize or figure out your classes in your first year, living on campus is a great way to do that. Now, the application, because we don't require you to live on, you have to ask us for housing, and you do that through the housing portal. You would submit a request for housing, a housing application for the 25-26 term, and we will offer you housing. It's guaranteed. As long as you apply, you have to submit your housing application as a first-year student before, by 11:59 p.m. on May 6th. And then when we offer you that contract, you have to sign it by 11:59 p.m. on May 7th. As long as you do that, you're guaranteed. If you're late, you go into the wait list and you are not guaranteed housing, right? And I have 581 continuing and second year students who didn't get housing yet because we're holding housing for first years and new transfers. New transfers, it's the same thing. You have to ask for housing through the application by 11:59 p.m. on June 6th, and you to sign that contract by 11:59 p.m. on June 7th. If you do that as a new transfer student, you're guaranteed housing in your first year. If you're a new first year student coming in, a full first time student, then you get housing for your freshman and sophomore years, provided that you apply on time and do everything the way you're supposed to do it. So in general, you do the application, you sign it. By June, we'll make decisions about LLCs. If that's something you want to do, you're not required to, but it's an option. And then we'll have roommate selection. You'll be able to log on back to the portal, and if you meet people online or if you know people you want to be roommates with, you can also look for roommates. That's not required. We provide it as an option. So if there's someone you want to live with, you can specify who you want to live with on the portal when that tool is available, and then we'll have online room selection starting in June, and then we'll run through early July. And then move-in is August 21st through the 24th. That's the general progress of application to move in. Next slide. So some folks may have special needs, and this can be really, it's up to you to determine if this applies to you. Commonly, these are things like known disabilities. It may be mobility, it may be other. If you believe it has an impact on your housing, like you couldn't live in a triple room or something like that, then you would need to seek and document an accommodation. And that process is described on our webpage. The priority date for those, we'll take accommodations at any time, but we can only guarantee them if they're completed with student accessibility services, documentation done, approved by June 1st. So start early on that process if you're not sure. So if you do have questions about financial aid and housing, because housing represents a large part of your cost of attendance, we assume that folks, when you're packaged for aid early, we assume you're going to be living on campus. But if you're not, you're going to want to make sure you talk to Students First Center about how that your aid would change if you don't live on campus. There are some FAQs about financial aid. And if you do change, if your housing status does change, then your aid status may change as well. So I saw in the chat someone asked, can we live on campus the first semester and move off? No, the contract term is for the full year, but for a lot from fall and spring semesters. But what a lot of students find is that even if they try to move off, the finances just don't work out with the reduction in financial aid in their first year. Okay, next slide. I heard James talk about the CAT card in relationship to transportation. All our buildings are locked 24 hours a day, so you need your CAT card to get into those exterior doors. You use that as a door pass. It opens those doors. It's also how you access our dining options. I'm sure Jay talked about that as well during the dining section as well. This is a critical card. Once you are ready and committed to UC Merced, one of the steps that you'll need to do is to submit your CAT card photo online. It tells you how to do the selfie and take the picture, and then you can pick up your ID card at orientation. All right, and I think that is where I should have ended, but I think that's where all our sessions end.
Yes,
So.
perfect. Thank you so much, Scott, for rejoining us after that tech issue. We are now at the end of our presentation officially. So what I'd like to do is go ahead and one more time prompt everyone. If you haven't yet sent in your question, now is the time. You can go ahead and click on that Q&A button and send that in for us. And I'll just welcome everyone back on screen, whoever would like to join us in this last portion here for the Q&A. The first one, I'm going to kind of mix these up a little bit, so stay on your toes. The first one, do we offer bike rentals? We talked about the zip cars and other things, but do we have bike rentals?
At this time, we do not have a bike rental program. We have reviewed certain options on that. That is not happening at this time. But there are some bike shops in town, and we can always provide some recommendations. There are some bicycle repair stands on campus that are in various locations. I still do believe those are in existence. And Scott can probably answer if there's any of those bike stand repair stands near housing. But at this time, there is no bicycle rental program that we are administering. Thank you for the question.
Yes.
There is a repair station in the Summits Quad. It has some basic tools and an air pump built into the infrastructure there.
Great.
Very good. All right, the next question, I'm going to stick with TAPS for just a moment. We had a question come in. What happens if someone needs to take a late bus? So the connection from the city bus system to CAT tracks, do those kind of correspond a little bit?
I don't know that I understand too much the question. The schedules all are individualized. We have 9 routes for our fixed route CAT track service, and the route UC system is it's directly used for locations throughout campus that go directly to the University Transit Center. Those timings are not exactly dialed in together. They are each individualized, but it's such an interactive website for our CAT tracks. We also have a live tracker that will also help for you to track those buses as they are along their routes if you're wanting to see where they are.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much, James. So let's hop over to housing. So we've got several different versions of this question coming in. People are asking, how do they get set up or matched with their roommate? Is there a survey they fill out? Is it random?
When you are submitting your application, you'll fill out, we have a long questionnaire about some, like when you like to get up, what kind of, like, do you listen to music while you study? Do you keep your room clean and tidy? Do you, like, things like, there's a bunch of those questions, and I encourage you to fill those out. Here's what I recommend. You should fill those out as you are now. not as you aspire to be, right? So a lot of students are like, okay, man, when I get to college, I'm going to be up in the morning. I'm going to go to the gym. If you're not a morning person now, you are probably not going to be a morning person until you prove it to yourself. So answer the form as you are now. And if you have concerns about answering honestly, make sure your parents don't fill out that form. That's happened before, where I've had parents fill out that form. So you need to take that form. You can then sort for roommates based on those criteria. So you can, if the most important, then what I recommend is what's most important for you. Is it sleeping? Is it playing video games? And then you can sort by the other folks' responses to those questions. So show me people who like to wake up early, and it'll give you a list of folks who gave that answer, and then you can like learn more about them, see their profiles on the housing portal. And so that's how you can look for a roommate. If you don't do any of that, right, as long as you just fill out those fields when you submit the application, we will use that information to help match you with a potential roommate. So we always, even so you don't have to find your roommate. We have pretty good success finding roommates for folks using those fields as long as you fill them out correctly.
Fantastic. And we'll stick with housing for one more question. If someone is a transfer student, do they have to go into the transfer LLC, or do we have separate residence halls for transfer aside from that?
We don't have separate transfer housing. We do offer the transfer LLC as an option, and those folks live together in a community of transfer students. But no transfer student has to participate in that. The transfer LLC is in an area with double rooms, and sometimes transfer students, some don't want that. They want to get a triple or a quad rate. And so we don't restrict them from living in other housing options.
Perfect. And that
Also, we don't guarantee every transfer student would be able to participate in the LLC either. It's limited in scope.
Oh, perfect. So is that a first come, first serve basis for that?
It is.
Perfect. So important to watch those deadlines, everybody. Mark your calendar. Also, hop over to the chat box if you haven't yet, because in that panel, we have been dropping all kinds of links to you throughout the evening so far. Go ahead and start clicking on those. Some of those are housing, some of them are transportation and dining. So, start clicking on those, and then you can review those at your leisure, but definitely make a note of those deadlines, because those are very critical. So now some questions for dining. So Jay, this is for you. You mentioned that people, if they have allergies, they can request certain meals, or how do they go about doing that to make sure that they're getting food that doesn't affect them?
I did see a question about a peanut allergy. And Scott, that part of that question was for you, if there was a second refrigerator allowed for someone with a severe peanut allergy. Maybe that was something that they saw at a different campus and wanted to know if that was available to them. The pavilion is peanut free. We keep the pavilion peanut free because peanuts are such a severe allergy. So there are tree nuts, but all of the big 9 allergens are listed on our menu cards. And should you need further accommodations, we do work with our accommodations team very closely. And we've worked with them through a multitude of different accommodations requiring special food needs. And then I saw another question about someone with type 1 diabetes. While I don't know if there's a nurse on campus all of the time, we do have FODMAP menus in the pavilion for both lunch and dinner 7 days a week. It's a mindful meal platform that the chef team works really hard on to help with both glycemic index and allergens. So that is a helpful tool for a lot of our students that have concerns regarding diabetes. There's also will be more options in the DC labeled mindful next semester as well.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. And then what if someone is vegetarian or vegan?
We have so much. So every station that has a meat option has a vegan or vegetarian option associated with that meal. So while we break our stations up by like kind of a complete meal, so if we were doing, say, Mexican food, we would have maybe chili verde, and then we would have like a chili verde potato or a vegetarian protein that was in like kind. while they're also on every other platform is the same variance, right? So you don't have to eat everything from one station. Both of our dining halls are all you care to eat. So you go in and make the plate from whatever station you want. Once you're in the building, you do as you please. So there's a full salad bar in both locations, lunch, dinner, late night for the DC. So lots and lots and lots of vegetarian options. Scott pretended to be vegan for a while and he ate with us all the time.
You're making me hungry now. I'm ready for some dinner. All right, everybody. Thank you for that. The next question coming in is going to toss back over to housing. Are first-year students able to qualify for a single dorm?
Yeah, I see that come up a lot. The answer is no, and not because they're first year students, but because all students are not going to get single rooms. Like second years, juniors, seniors, we do have more single rooms because we're new construction, but we also hold those rooms for students that have approved ADA accommodations that require single rooms, and we generally don't have enough of those for that population. So we have not sold a single room as an elective room in probably 4 years.
Good.
So the most common room type for a first year student is a triple room.
Perfect. And now this question I know comes up. I've seen it in a couple of different webinars as well in the past. How do we separate gender, or is there a separation, or are the residence halls, are they considered co-ed?
Yeah, so our residence halls are all what we would call co-ed, meaning they are the buildings themselves are mixed gender. Most, when I mean most, I mean probably 98% of the room assignments are same gender room assignments. So when you apply to go into a room, you will be in a room with other people of the same gender, and you will only be able to form roommate groups of people of the same gender. Now that gender can be man, woman, or gender neutral, or non-binary. So there are different options that you can choose. When you sign up for housing, you will be asked to indicate a housing gender. This is separate from the gender that you select, like when you fill out your application to UC Merced. And it has more options available. We do have a limited number of what we call non-gendered housing. This is options where students can live with students who don't match. It's really very generally defined as you live in a space where the gender identities don't mix. They're not they're not the same. They're not required to be the same. And you have to opt into that preference. And when you're when you're signing your housing contract, it will ask you if you want to be in what they call gender inclusive housing, meaning, are you willing to participate in that? And if you say yes, then that means that you can be placed into a room where you can have a roommate of any gender identity. So most commonly, students are like, I want to live with my boyfriend or my brother, right? Or it might be like, it's usually, cisgendered folks wanting to live with the opposite gender, but that's not what our non-gendered housing is exactly what it says. So you could be living with anybody of any gender in those spaces. So the most of our students do not participate in that. Some select it and they don't really understand what it is. We try to explain it every year, but if you have a specific gender need with your housing, you can always reach out to housing and we can help you work through what options are available to you through our email address. And we're happy to work through that if you have something specific. But most room assignments are same gender.
Very good. Thank you so much, Scott. Now, a general question that I can answer here. Yes, we are recording this tonight, so this will be available in just a couple of days over on the admitted student events page. And don't forget, open up the chat box, tons of links over there for you, including that events page so that you can go there and take a look at past events that already have the on-demand instant replay. And then this one will be there in just a couple of days. All right, another question coming in. Do we have any type of an escort or a walking service? So if someone is walking maybe in the evening across campus and they just don't feel too comfortable doing that by themselves, do we offer anything like that?
I don't mind answering that question. I believe public safety has, there are a couple of different programs that they have. I was mentioning in the chat that someone was asking about, if there's a disability or a temporary disability, do we have a service? And yes, we do. We have a CART program that will assist in that. But after hours and when someone may feel unsafe, there is also always campus police who are able to help 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, by calling CAT cops. There's also a service they provide that was on a fixed route campus wide. I'm not sure whether they're continuing that service, but I do know on call, if you need help or you need a ride, it's too dark, there's something going on, then you do always have that option to call campus police. So that is definite.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, James. And also, I don't know that we've mentioned it, but on campus, we have those blue light poles. And so what those are like, I don't know that that's consistent at every campus called a blue light pole, but we have those every so often. And so if you ever are just uncomfortable with your surroundings, it could even be a scary raccoon that's walking behind you because we are out in the rural area. So if there's anything that's disturbing you, you can go ahead and click on that and there's a speaker there and they'll come out and they'll be talking with you until they can arrive and then walk you or maybe even give you a ride to your location. So our campus is very safe. I've been here for about 10 years and I've never felt unsafe before, but we do have all of those options. And when we talk about our police department, please know it is a fully staffed police department, just like a city PD would be. So we're not talking security guards or someone that's just kind of walking around and checking doors. We actually have a fully staffed, experienced police force there on campus, and they're all very friendly. So don't feel afraid or nervous to even reach out to them. All right, guys, we have a few more questions coming up here. So what happens during the summer in housing? Do people need to move out during that time?
Yes, your housing contract for the academic year is only for fall, so August through May, through the end of the spring term. And we do offer summer housing. We just posted the summer application for summer housing goes live tonight at midnight, and we have information about summer housing on our webpage as well. That housing is in one building. This year it's Glacier Point, and you have to move from wherever you're at on campus over to that location, and it does cost extra. So it's not included in your academic year housing contract.
Very good. Thank you for that. And what type of medical services do we offer on campus? Is there something specific for the residence hall and those on-campus students, or is it open to everyone?
They have access to the student health center. There's nothing specific to like housing, but the campus is served by the student health center and they are open usually every day during the term. They have access to, there's resources like Ask a Nurse. They have a really great webpage. I'd encourage you to check out that, particularly if you have questions about if you have a condition you're trying to manage or health needs you're worried about, they can be a great resource for you. But they are available. They have a pharmacy in there as well, if you need to get something while you're on campus.
Very good. And then do any students live on campus for all 4 years of their time?
We do have some. I mean, it's first and second years are guaranteed. So I mentioned that as long as you live on campus your first 2 terms, you're eligible to get guaranteed housing for your third and fourth semester as well as a second year. After that, we offer housing as available to what we call continuing students. These are juniors, seniors, and super seniors beyond. So some students do get housing, but we can't guarantee it. We do offer many students that option, but not all of them are able to get it, maybe if they want it, because we have limitations on how many students we can house. But we have had students live on campus for 4 years. Somebody had asked questions about how to be an RA. After your first year, if you come on campus for your first year, you can, in December and January, they'll start opening the applications to be an RA. We do have a good number of students who look to be an RA their junior or sophomore year, to help with housing, because it pays very well. But it also is really for students that like to help other students. If you're someone who helps welcome people around, or if you're like a leader in your group and help welcome folks, an RA role can be a good one for you.
Very good. Thank you so much for that. And let's see, we have another question here. Is there a carpool network where students can kind of collaborate and find rides? Do we have any service like that? Or are they kind of using social media and those types of things?
That's more of a van pool type situation where you partner online, partner connect. But I think that connection comes from great conversations. That's where that carpool and the necessity, right? Like I think if each of us are thinking about being sustainable and we're wanting to do something great for the campus and for our earth, I think you're having those conversations already. But we encourage those conversations. We're happy to help in encouraging those conversations further. And there's plenty of information on our website about what they can do about those carpool permits and carpooling to campus. There are dedicated spaces on campus that will, hey, that's always a great thing, having a dedicated space on campus. So anyway, that's the information and I'm sticking to it.
Perfect. Thanks so much, James. Now, do freshmen or first year students, are they allowed to park on campus? Can they bring a car if they're living on campus?
All of our freshmen, obviously, there's a application that needs to be submitted for that, and residents the same. The application process has multiple facets of reasons, but one of them obviously is it gives us data. It gives us the information we need as we continue as a campus to grow. Projects are coming on board. So having that data and information of who's needing the permits that's coming from off campus or those residents, there is an option for you to park on campus and it's dedicated parking once you've been approved. So those application process and those dates, deadlines are all on our website. So please visit our website for further information and more information that's accurate.
Fantastic. Now we are getting just a few minutes before the end of our show here tonight. I have a few things I'd like to mention, but before I do, I'd like to give our panelists here an opportunity for any last words. I know we have some questions that we weren't able to get to. So if there's anything that you'd like to share now, either a tip or trick, some advice, this would be a great time.
There are lots of questions about a pharmacy on campus. There's not a pharmacy that I am aware of, but DoorDash does deliver Walgreens prescriptions. So I think that lots of our students take DoorDash up on that.
Oh, I just think that for all intents and purpose, we're just looking forward to having you come to UC Merced. We're looking forward to having you become a Bobcat. That's what we're all here for, is to support that academic success for you and that living, learning community. We are all part of that. Everyone on this call is here to support that situation for you. We're all here for you. We're here to provide opportunities for employment, and we're all available for you. I've noticed that for this group, we're always available to answer your questions. Our websites, as we've been saying all along, are the best place to get most updated information. But we're excited to have you, and we're in it with you. So thank you.
I would just encourage folks to ask housing your questions early and ask them often. Housing at ucmerced.edu. Our information will be in the slide deck, and then we also, if you log in, and make sure you can get logged into the housing portal. Don't wait until the last minute to try to resolve those elements. So you want to make sure that you get your housing in. For first year students, there's no fee to apply, and there's no fee to cancel as long as you cancel on or before June 1st. So I would encourage you, if you think that UC Merced is a good option for you, but you're still keeping things open, don't wait around to put your housing application in. Just get it in and get it taken care of, so that you can secure your housing.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much to Scott and James and Jay, covering all these three connected areas of campus, a very important event. So just in case anyone, maybe you hopped in a little bit late or you just want to watch this back, we have been recording it. So it will be available in just a couple of days over on that events page we've mentioned a few times. Open up that chat box as we're wrapping up here. Start clicking madly on those links. Bookmark all of those. They're all going to be very helpful for you, especially if you're planning to live on campus in a residence hall, getting a parking permit, and of course, eating there. Because even if you're not living on campus, you still need to eat, right? So you're going to want to stop by and get a meal or a snack sometime. So a couple of things just to mention, we do have that events page, and on that page, you're going to find all of the following things and even more than that. So we have an admissions roadshow. If you haven't heard of that, they are the Admit Student Reception. So we just had one earlier this week in Visalia. We have a few more coming up in April. So we are coming to a region near you. So make sure you hop over to that page. You can get yourself signed up and take a look at what city may be nearest to you, but there are still a couple more coming up in April. And of course, the biggest event of our spring term is Bobcat Day. That is being hosted on Saturday, April the 19th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. You will meet almost every single one of us there. It is such a fun day for us. We get to meet you and all of your family and loved ones and friends that you bring with you as guests. It is such an exciting day on campus. We have over 200 tabling events. So that means you will be meeting club members, organizations. Some of us will be there hosting admissions tables. There is just so much to experience that day. And even if you attend every single webinar, you will still learn more information there. Plus, you get to meet all of us in person. There are several school presentations, so whatever major you may be interested in, you will be able to go to a couple of those to actually hear about them and meet faculty and professors and TAs, students that are involved right now, current Bobcats that can tell you their firsthand experience of what it's like being a student, as well as in a particular major. We have performances available that day. So if you can't tell, it's a very exciting day. I am so thrilled to be there to be able to meet all of you and get outside this virtual world. So please hop on over there as well to get yourself signed up. There is a full agenda available online, so you'll be able to take a peek and see what we have there. And of course, you can also sample our food while you're there. There's just so much going on. Our cheer team, our dance teams, our band, everyone will be there to welcome you with open arms. And hopefully you'll be able to sign up and do your statement of intent to register while you are there. And we can help celebrate with you and your family, take some fun pictures. And of course, the ever important Rufus Bobcat, he may even make an appearance and you can grab some selfies with him. Once again, I think we've shared everything we possibly can with you tonight. If you haven't clicked on those links, this is the last few seconds that you'll have. My name is Ricky Hill. It has been so much fun being here with you and being your e-recruiter. I'm so excited to see you guys in person. We also have more events coming up for the virtual set. So go ahead and hop on over, get yourself signed up, or watch this again as a recording as an instant replay. Thank you all so much for joining us. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. Hope to meet you in the very near future. Have a great night.